Hi everybody, so I am Dr. Jessica Cook and I am an adjunct instructor for the College of St. Scholastica in the Education Department. We're going to do a little bit of information here for our 5650 course on assessment. The main thing we're going to talk about today is using SpEd forms. And so I've been a special education teacher for 16 years. SpEd forms is probably one of the most common platforms as far as writing IEPs. So this is really good information for you to have as background. There's one other system that I have used in the past, which is part of Infinite Campus. Maybe some of you use that system at your school. That also has a IEP writing platform, and I mention that just because if for some reason you would have that format instead, the two are actually really similar, so it's still really good information. So a couple things just to get started on the screen here. This is your login page. Now, for the purposes of our course, it's super important that you are using the account specific to Scholastica students right here. So if you just log in and you Google SpEd forms and try to log in with the information we provide for you, it will not work. Scholastica has set up its own account for you, so that's how that information will be set. So make sure you're on the Scholastica page. I'm not going to give specifics about login information on our video because that may or may not change, but we will provide that as part of the course for you, so don't worry about that. Once you have your login information, please put that information here, and then you can hit login. So this is your main page, and what I want to do here is explain to you some of the very essential pieces that you're going to be using, because again, this is such a quick overview, but the bottom line is on this page right here, there are a number of different components that can be used for SpEd forms. The main one that you're going to be using is right here. Kind of a little bit of background, SpEd forms is really nice, one, because you can collaborate with all of the service providers, right? So everybody, you can add a team in there and everybody can be working together on the same report. One quirk that I did find in my own district with SpEd forms is that you cannot be working on the report at the same time as somebody else, so there's just fair warning before that happens. So that is a piece, but you can all be working together. The other thing that's really nice is the software itself provides a clearinghouse, right? So your district office can access this, your administrator could access this if you're providing them information. So it changes and moves everything from you possessing all of that data about a student or all things being in a file in your office to having it be a spot where it's accessible. And the other thing that's really nice about that is for you as a teacher, let's say, for example, you're in an IEP meeting that's all the way down the hall or like on the other side of the building, and the answer that you need or a parent's asking you, you're able to just pull this up within the system itself. So that's very nice. So I've already added on here, what will happen is your student list will pop up right away. I've already added a test student. I want you to see how I did that, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the information that you include. So what I did already was I clicked add a new student, and you will get this page right here. Same as when you're filling forms in online, you have to fill in all of the ones that are in red. Those are required. At this point, we are, for our purposes of our course, for the most part, we're going to be looking at doing a new referral, because for assessment, full assessment, that will be what we're looking at doing. The other one will be if we're doing an evaluation, a reevaluation. Again, you can just kind of read through those sections. You don't need to fill in all of these. Mars ID, it will pop up as an error. I believe it's 13 digits, it might be 11 digits. But again, it'll show you the message, and for our course, you're just making that up. If you're in the school setting, students actually have all of those numbers, okay? Over here, this information is important, where we're talking about when did parents actually give permission to start an evaluation, when is it due by, when will the IEP start. So all of that information, again, even though it seems really cumbersome to have to type that in, it's so helpful, and I'm going to show you why in just one other second, okay? So we're going to go back to previous page here, and I apologize, some of these might not navigate correctly. Okay, this is the part that I think is so useful when you're putting in all of those dates later on, once you're managing student IEPs in here. Even though this seems a little bit silly, it does have like these smiley faces on here. So it'll have the eval date and then a meeting date for IEPs, and it will basically keep track for you on when your paperwork is due, which is huge and really helpful. So I want to just show you a little bit. So I've already created test student here. Our random student that we're doing. And so once you've added a new student, it will give you all of these different choices and everything included on here. And there are many, many things during our course that we can talk at a little bit more, but all of these things are very, very useful. So it'll have notice of a team meeting. That's again a notice to parents for attending an evaluation. And then the main thing for our purposes of our class is going to be this evaluation report. So you can click on that. And then usually it'll be a new evaluation template that you're starting. And this is fine. It's saying it'll override any other information that you had on there previously. And at this point, that's okay. So it'll have some of our templates on here that we can start from our case study. You can kind of pick, and then it'll basically let you go through and fill in a lot of the sections that are on there. I'm going to go back to previous page. Oops. And again. And then again, like as we're navigating through, we can talk through a lot of the other pieces that are included on here: medical documentation, an actual service plan for the student themselves, procedural safeguards. That information is, that legal piece that you're always having to hand out to parents at a meeting. So all of those pieces included. And then you just kind of have to get used to it a little bit as you're navigating through. You can pick another student. Menu makes you navigate back to that home page, and again, that's going to be the main area. There are a ton of little tricks and quirks about getting this set up with IEP, goal writing, and all of those things. But again, for the purposes of 5650, we're mostly looking at that evaluation report and just adding a new student, because again, that's typically what we're going to be doing is either an initial referral for special education services, or we're going to be doing a reassessment for students also. So I hope that's helpful to you. And then just please make sure that you connect with us if you have questions. And same thing, we'll make sure each term that we get all the login information for you, just in case that would change, but always making sure that for the purposes of our classes at Scholastica that you log in through a SpEd Forms account that we've set up for you. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye.